Bledsoe is suing his ex-girlfriend, salon apprentice Michelle Ha, for loss of business as a result of having his cell phone turned off. Michelle is countersuing for an outstanding phone bill and the return of a printer.
Quiet in the courtroom. Now, it's case number 69 on the calendar, the matter Bledsoe versus Ha. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Mr. Bledsoe, you and the defendant were involved in a relationship, according to what I read in your complaint. There came a time when you needed a cell. You didn't have sufficient credit to get one yourself. And Ms. Ha said that she would get one for you, as long as you agreed to pay the bills. Mm-hmm. She got a second phone on her account, or was this an account that you had solely for him?
No, it was already, and he took it over.
It was already in existence.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then you started a business.
Correct.
And you didn't have an office, per se, so that your cell phone was your office.
Correct. We're a mobile service.
So that you had business cards and stationery printed up, all with the cell phone number on it.
Yes.
What kind of business is this, Mr. Bledsoe?
We manufacture and install a paint protection film for cars. It's otherwise known as a clear bra. It's on the front of the cars to protect them from getting in front of the car.
This is a lucrative business?
Yes.
And then the two of you broke up.
Correct.
This is what your lawsuit is about. You say that because Ms. Ha refused to let you keep the number to keep the account going, and you lost the number, not only did you lose a lot of business, but all of the cards that you had printed up and the stationery that you had printed up are no good anymore because you had to get a different phone.
Right.
Explain to me, sir, how this is a lawsuit.
All right. We had broken up in March of 2004, and until December of this past year, I was still paying the cell phone bill, still using the phone. She had contacted me and said that she wanted to get the cell phone out of her name, and I said, that's fine. And the following day, we were going to meet down at the Singular store because I needed her to go in and say it was okay for me to have that phone number. And so she agreed to go down there. She didn't show up that day. Then after we tried to meet, and she wouldn't come, and eventually she said, I'm not going to give you the number. My brother, who's also a partner in business, also spoke with her on the phone for about 45 minutes one day trying to see what we could do to maintain this number, and she just refused to do it. We ended up that month of February going 33 days without any business due to not having anybody being able to contact us through the new number.
Mr. Bledsoe, let's say I believe he wasn't being a nice person, right?
Correct. Correct. She knew without a doubt that without giving me that number, she knew she would hurt business.
Where is her legal obligation to give you that number?
I guess there's no legal obligation that she had to give me that number.
That's true. But Ms. Ha has a counterclaim. She says you weren't paying the bill.
The very last bill, I did not pay the very last bill.
And what month was the very last bill, Mr. Bledsoe?
The cell phone was turned off in the middle of January, so it would have been the December to January.
When did you get that bill, Ms. Ha?
Well, I received several bills, and I actually agreed to let him keep the phone as long as he paid for the bill. His brother first told me beg, and I said, nope, I'm not going to give him the phone. And I totally refused, and then finally, I said, you know what, you can keep the phone, just pay for the bill. I texted him, I said, you can keep the phone. He even texted me back and said, I appreciate that you're going to let me keep the phone. I thought everything was going to be squared away, he was going to go pay for it. He still didn't pay for it. So
well, let me see the bill.
This is
just the one. Are they all outstanding bills?
No, I'm sorry.
Well, then just give me one thing. I'm getting older by the minute. You owed her $497.57.
Originally, she had said that her mother was going to over. There wasn't going to be any cancellation fee or anything like that. Because she drew it out over a 3-week period of time, not deciding whether she wanted to give me a number or not, then they canceled the phone and they added on a $200 cancellation.
They canceled the phone after 3 months, not 3 weeks.
Had he been paying the bill regularly?
Yes, until, well, it was never on time, but he was until the last.
I think, Mr. Bledsoe, that after she said she would let you keep the phone, she decided against it.
If you like, if I could bring my brother up, because he spoke with her directly about that question.
Your name?
My name's Craig Bledsoe. I spoke to Michelle. You know, she agreed to give the number, and I don't know what her problem was, but all of a sudden she wouldn't do it. And then she would, and then she wouldn't.
Just a second.
Yes.
That's a lie.
Mr. Bledsoe.
Yes.
Try looking at me.
Okay.
This is not an audition for an acting class, sir.
Okay.
Did she ever say to you, you owe a bill?
No.
Is not an answer.
Oh,
Did she ever say to you, you owe a bill?
She never said to me that I owe a bill. Yes, he owes a bill.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, come back to you. Did you ever have a discussion about paying the bill?
Yes.
Well, that's the problem, sir. There was some misunderstanding and miscommunication about paying the...
I offered her money so that we could have that phone because that phone number is so crucial to our business.
Mr. Bledsoe, how many months after you broke up, or she broke up with you, who broke up with who?
It was mutual.
Mutual. How much after the breakup did this incident occur in December? When did you break up?
In March.
So for a long time, you had the phone.
That's correct.
And for a long time, there was no problem.
Correct. The problem arose when Michelle and I were dating. We had had 2 cars repossessed. I felt responsible for it. Therefore, I had told her that I would give her $250 a month towards her car payment as long as I could afford it. Therefore...
What do you mean you felt responsible? Why did you feel responsible?
Because we were living together and I was using the car.
Both cars.
And so therefore...
Go ahead. He was using...
I got him 2 cars, and he got them both repossessed. And countless of that, like credit cards he used to take to strip clubs, everything. And I saw a statement. Yeah.
Not sure.
Just to sit down. Now I don't need you anymore.
Fair enough, but I got a lot to say about her side of the story.
I mean, I would see things on my statements.
So that things started to get nasty before.
Things have been nasty
Is that
for a
right?
long time, yes.
Before. In any event, Mr. Bledsoe, Ms. Hobb has no legal obligation to permit you to keep a cell phone in her name and allow you to keep the number. There is no legal obligation. Being a nice person, even if there wasn't an issue with regard to the final cell phone bill. So you don't have a legal case against her. Moral? Maybe, but this is not moral court. It's a legal court. Understood?
Yes.
Very good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's your printer?
We'd like to inform you.
Ex-girlfriend Michelle Ha owes for maliciously cutting off his cell phone. Michelle says Jared tried to skip out on the bill.
Now, let's get to your counterclaim. As I said, I'm not deciding whether or not you were nice, you were not nice. All I want to know is how much he owes on the past due phone bill.
$497.
No, that's with the cancellation fee. I want it without the cancellation fee.
$342.48.
Good. $342.48. That's what you owe, sir.
We had brought this, we had had a dispute about printer and a computer, so we had brought that to give to her.
Officer Byrd will take care of that. That's your printer?
Can you turn it around, please? No, that's not my printer.
Gosh.
See, I have a printer. It's a gray and black one, and when I got a computer, it came with it. And then when he gave me back my computer, he never gave me back my printer. And I have the receipt right here.
Do me a favor, Byrd. Take a look at the receipt that she has and see if it's the same make and model. Oh, I can't believe I went to law school for this. Work or not work?
It works.
Good. Give it to her. Perfect. He owes you $342.48 for his phone bill. There's your printer. Goodbye. Good luck. Are you back in business?
Yes, we are.
Good. Good luck to you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I wanted to do the civil.
Have you ever sat through an afternoon of Judge Judy and felt like your brain cells were slowly packing their bags and moving to a more intellectual neighborhood? Well, grab your popcorn and lower your expectations, because Case 69 is the kind of cinematic masterpiece that makes you wonder if romantic entanglement should officially be classified as a pre-existing medical condition for the legally illiterate. We've all been there, or at least we've seen the viral clips, where someone refuses to let go of a Netflix password or a favorite hoodie, but today we're elevating that petty energy to a professional, high-stakes level of cringe. We are diving headfirst into the saga of Jared Bledsoe and Michelle Ha, a pair whose post-breakup communication style is about as smooth as a gravel road in a Category 5 hurricane. As I sat on my velvet sofa, sipping a lukewarm latte and watching Jared try to convince the world's most formidable woman that his ex-girlfriend owed him a nice outcome for his business, I felt a strange, intoxicating mix of secondhand embarrassment and profound fascination. This isn't just a tale for every aspiring entrepreneur who thinks their corporate headquarters can be legally tied to a woman they've already broken up with. It's about the sheer audacity of expecting a moral court to function within the rigid steel walls of a legal court, and the unadulterated chaos of bringing a physical printer into a courtroom like it's a sacrificial lamb or a weapon of mass boredom. In this episode, the vibes are rancid, the logic is parkour ing over common sense, and Judge Judy is approximately 30 seconds away from retiring to a private island with no Wi-Fi just to escape the sound of Jared's voice. It's the kind of television that reminds us why we stay single, or at the very least, why we put our own names on our utility bills. Jared, with his mobile service business protecting cars from rock chips, represents the ultimate "I'll pay you back later, babe" energy that haunts our collective nightmares. Why is this specific tragedy worth our time? Because in an era where everyone is a founder and every side hustle is a lucrative business, the Bledsoe debacle is a perfect mirror for the messy intersections of love, credit scores, and the stubborn refusal to just buy a new SIM card. So, buckle up, clear your browser history, and let's dissect how a relationship involving clear bras ended up being on national television while arguing over a Lexmark printer that may or may not even be yours. It is a journey of pride, cell phone minutes, and the legendary Judge Judy finishing her patience before the first commercial break even hits. The curtain rises on Act 1, which I like to call the audacity of the uncreditable entrepreneur, where we meet Jared Bledsoe, a man who has managed to build an entire business empire on the shaky foundation of his ex-girlfriend's wireless family plan. Jared spends the first few minutes trying to convince Judge Judy and us that his clear bra business, which sounds like a very niche fashion line but is actually just plastic wrap for car bumpers, is a lucrative gold mine that was cruelly sabotaged by Michelle Ha. The hilarity begins when Jared admits his office is a cell phone he couldn't even get in his own name because his credit history is likely just a series of red flags waving in a hurricane. He's indignant, truly believing that because he printed business cards with a number he didn't legally own, Michelle was contractually obligated to remain his unpaid secretary and cellular provider until the end of time. Then we slide into Act 2, the brother, the bills, and the champagne room meltdown, where the chaos reaches a fever pitch. Enter Craig Bledsoe, Jared's brother, who watched his serious witness face in a bathroom mirror for 3 hours, but forgot how human eye contact actually works. Michelle drops the metaphorical hammer here, revealing that Jared didn't just forget a phone bill. He managed to get 2 cars repossessed and apparently treated her credit cards like a VIP pass to the local strip clubs. The tension in the room shifts from a simple contract dispute to a high-speed car crash of personal failures, with Jared desperately trying to maintain his serious businessman persona while Judy looks at him like a particularly annoying bug she's about to squash under her judicial robe. Jared's brother tries to corroborate some vague promise of niceness from Michelle, but Judy shuts him down faster than a failing tech startup, reminding everyone that this is a courtroom, not a rehearsal for a community theater production of The Men Who Ruined My Credit. Finally, we reach Act 3, the great Lexmark gaslighting finale, where the legal system finally catches up to Jared's delusions. Judy, who is clearly aging by the minute as she listens to this nonsense, rules that Michelle has zero legal obligation to be nice or moral to a man who spent her money on lap dances. The climax involves a literal physical printer, a Lexmark, specifically, that Jared presents as a peace offering, and declares with absolute certainty, "That's not my printer." But Judy has reached her absolute limit for the day. In a move of pure efficiency and "I am over this" energy, she orders Jared to pay the $342.48 he owes for the phone bill, tells Michelle to take the random gray printer anyway regardless of its origins, and dismisses them both before Jared can explain his feelings or his mobile service one more time. It's a masterclass in how to lose a case, lose a girlfriend, and lose your dignity all within a 20-minute television slot, ending with Jared scurrying out of the room, hopefully toward a store that sells SIM cards and a book on basic financial responsibility. Let us peel back the layers of this psychological onion and look at Jared Bledsoe, a man who clearly believes that confidence is a viable substitute for collateral. From the moment Jared steps into the frame, he is performing the role of the disrupted tech titan, wearing a suit of invisible armor made entirely of entitlement and delusions of grandeur. He speaks about his clear bra business with the gravity of someone who just discovered cold fusion, yet he's standing there admitting that his entire corporate infrastructure, the very nervous system of his lucrative empire, was a secondary line on his ex-girlfriend's singular account syndrome. Jared isn't just a victim of a disconnected phone. In his mind, he's a victim of Michelle's refusal to recognize his genius. He looks at Judge Judy not as a legal arbiter, but as a potential venture capitalist who might sympathize with his mobile office struggles. The way he emphasizes rock chips and damage on the front of the car suggests he thinks he's providing a vital public service, yet he can't even navigate the basic requirements of adulthood, like having a credit score higher than a room temperature. Then we have Michelle Ha, the woman who has clearly reached the "I will set this all on fire" stage of a breakup. Michelle is the personification of "the bank is closed," and honestly, can we blame her? Watching her face while Jared explains his loss of business is a masterclass in restrained fury. She isn't just a defendant. She is a woman who has spent months, possibly years, subsidizing a man's dreams only to realize his dreams involve spending her money at a strip club. When she drops the bomb about the repossessed cars and the credit cards used at strip clubs, the entire energy of the episode shifts from a boring contract dispute to a visceral character assassination. This is where the drama transcends the courtroom and becomes a Shakespearean tragedy of the suburban variety. Jared's immediate defense of garden playground, let alone a court of law. He tries to maintain this facade of a respectable businessman, but Michelle's revelations paint him as a professional parasite. The chemistry between them is no longer romantic. It is the volatile reaction of two chemicals that should never have been in the same beaker. They radiate a specific kind of post-breakup toxicity, where every word is a jagged edge designed to draw blood. Jared attempts to use niceness as a legal currency, arguing that Michelle had a moral obligation to be nice to him. It is the ultimate gaslighting tactic. I ruined your credit and went to strip clubs on your dime, but why aren't you helping me keep my business cards relevant?
It is truly breathtaking.
Then we must discuss the brother, Craig. Oh, Craig. If Jared is the star of this tragicomedy, Craig is the understudy who didn't realize the play was a comedy. He enters the scene trying to be the voice of reason, but he only succeeds in looking like a confused accomplice. When Judge Judy barks, this is not an audition for an acting class. She is reading the soul of every person who has ever tried to lie their way through a consequence. Craig's presence is a desperate attempt to add weight to Jared's flimsy argument, but it backfires spectacularly. He represents the enabler while their relative makes terrible life choices. The way Jared looks at the camera and then at Judy, trying to find an angle, shows a man who is so used to manipulating his surroundings that he doesn't know how to handle a woman who sees right through him. He is the nan-nan victim of his own hubris, but the editing and Judy's sharp tongue frame him as a clown. Michelle, on the other hand, is the GAN team carrier, who finally dropped the heavy load. She is the one with the receipts, literally. The physical presence of the printer in the courtroom is perhaps the most nonsensical, and yet brilliant piece of evidence in television history. Jared brings it in as if it's a peace pipe, but it's actually a Trojan horse of mediocrity. The back and forth about whether it is the gray and black one or a Lexmark is the kind of petty detail that reminds us why reality TV is so addictive. We are watching two people who once shared a bed and a life now arguing over the make and model of a peripheral device that probably costs $40 at a yard sale. It is the ultimate degradation of their shared history. You can see the exhaustion in Michelle's eyes. It's the look of a woman who has realized she was dating a project, not a partner. Jared's attempts to pivot back to the crucial phone number show a man who is in misunderstanding and miscommunication, those classic buzzwords of people who just didn't pay their bills. The drama here isn't about the $342, it's about the total collapse of Jared's self-image. He wants to be the Bledsoe of Bledsoe versus Ha, the powerful plaintiff, but he ends up being the man who has to hand over a dusty printer to a woman who doesn't even want it. The psychological warfare on display is fascinating because Jared truly believes his own lies. He thinks that if he says mobile service enough times, the laws of contracts will simply vanish. He is the quintessential nan qua bien tap, victim of editing, only in the sense that the cameras are capturing his true, unvarnished incompetence. Michelle's countersuit is less about the money and more about the finality of the severing. She wants her printer, she wants her $342, and she wants this man out of her credit history forever. The interaction between them is a cold, dead star, no heat, just the heavy gravity of past mistakes. When Jared asks if he can bring his brother up, it's the last gasp of a drowning man reaching for a straw. The audition comment from Judy is the final nail in the coffin of his ego. It reminds the audience that in the real world, vibes and a guy got exposed, and the only thing clear by the end of the segment was that Jared's business model was just as transparently flawed as his defense. It's a 1,200-word essay written in the sweat on Jared's forehead, a testament to the fact that you can protect a car from rock chips, but you can't protect a delusional man from Judge Judy. Now, let's talk about the invisible puppet masters behind the curtain because, let's be honest, the directorial hand in this episode of Judge Judy is doing more heavy lifting than Jared's entire car protection business ever did. When we look at the way this episode is constructed, we have to appreciate the sheer, calculated brilliance of the editing room where narrative is prioritized over nuance every single time. The pacing is a frantic, high-velocity assault on the senses designed to mirror Judge Judy's own deteriorating patience, and it is glorious. From the very first quiet in the courtroom, the editors are already framing the story. Notice the way the camera cuts to a tight close-up on Jared whenever he says something particularly ridiculous, like explaining that a clear bra is a lucrative industry. The camera doesn't just record his statement. It lingers on his face for an extra half-second of silence, allowing the audience to soak in the absurdity before cutting to a reaction shot of Officer Bird looking like helium. This is the slow-motion cringe technique at its finest. The sound design is equally manipulative, with those sharp, percussive musical stings that punctuate every revelation of Jared's incompetence. When Michelle mentions the strip clubs, I would bet my last dollar that the sound editor spent an hour choosing the exact dun-dun-dun to maximize the impact. It's not just a trial, it's a choreographed dance of public shaming. And let's talk about the Bon Te Dao Dain, director's hand, regarding the props. You cannot tell me the production staff didn't have a field day when Jared showed up with a literal printer in his hands. In a standard court, a printer would be a piece of evidence hidden in a box, but here, it's a centerpiece. The way the camera pans from the printer's dusty plastic casing up to Michelle's disgusted face is pure cinematic poetry. It's a MacGuffin that would make Hitchcock proud, a physical object that represents the utter breakdown of their communication. The acting class comment from Judy is also a fascinating meta moment where the show acknowledges its own theatricality. By having Judy call out Jared for auditioning, the director is essentially winking at the audience, saying, "We know this is a show, you know this is a show, but let's pretend it's reality for the sake of realness of the conflict while leaning into the performative nature of daytime TV." The editing also does a grain of sand/error check on Jared's brother, Craig, by capturing his awkward glances toward his brother for cues. In a more serious show, those moments might be cut for time, but here, they are the main course. The producers want us to see the cracks in the facade. They want us to see the hesitation, the shifting weight, and the way Jared looks at the ceiling when he's searching for a lie that sounds like a truth. The chemistry of the editing is what makes the show work. It creates a rhythm where Judy is the percussion, the defendants are the discordant woodwinds, and the audience's collective judgment is the bass line. Is it natural? About as natural as a clear bra on a luxury car. It's highly processed, vacuum-sealed for maximum entertainment value, and flavored with just enough salt to keep us thirsty for the next segment. The way the show transitions from the moral argument to the legal ruling is a masterclass in narrative structure, leading us through the chaos only to drop us into the cold, hard reality of the final judgment. The hand of the director here isn't just about technical precision. It's about the psychological manipulation of the viewer, making us feel like we've participated in a moral cleansing, but we've witnessed a raw, unscripted moment of human folly. But every zoom, every pause, and every cut to a skeptical audience member tells a different story, one of meticulous, expert-level television production that knows exactly how to make a man arguing over a phone bill look like the most entertaining disaster on the planet. By the time Judy says bye, we've been through a 3-act structure that was likely refined in a post-production suite for days, ensuring that Jared Bledsoe's dignity was sacrificed on the altar of high-definition ratings. It is a work of art, really, the kind of art that makes you glad you're on this side of the screen, and not the one holding a Lexmark printer in front of a woman who hasn't smiled since the late 90s. The director knows exactly who the victim and the villain are, and they use every tool in the shed to make sure we don't disagree. As we take a deep breath and let the courtroom doors slam shut on Jared and Michelle, we are left with a cultural artifact that is as VO as it is profoundly educational for the modern age of digital domesticity and the founder fetish. The most glaring takeaway from this half-hour of high-octane pettiness is the universal truth that niceness is not a legally binding contract, a lesson that many in our current era of main character energy and manifesting seem to have forgotten. We live in a digital nomad with a dream, or a specialist in clear bras for luxury vehicles, yet the basic plumbing of adulthood, like having a credit score that doesn't resemble a temperature in Antarctica, remains a mystery to the Jareds of the world. The cultural trend of soft-launching a business while hard-loading your partner's credit cards is a specific kind of 21st century toxicity that Judge Judy sniffs out like a bloodhound. It serves as a stark reminder for the Gen Z and millennial viewers who are currently navigating the complexities of shared Netflix passwords and joint Spotify plans. If your business model relies on your partner's good vibes and their willingness to keep your phone line open after you've spent their money at a strip club, you don't have a business. You have a hostage situation. The lesson here is about the radical necessity of financial boundaries. We often talk about emotional labor, but Case 69 is a masterclass in the exhaustion of financial labor, the weight of carrying someone else's life on your back until your own spine starts to crack. Michelle represents every person who has ever looked at their bank statement and realized they weren't just a girlfriend. They were an interest-free loan with no repayment schedule. The printer, in all its gray, Lexmark-branded glory, becomes a metaphor for the useless, close relationship. Bringing a piece of hardware you think belongs to your ex as a peace offering is the ultimate low-effort move. It's the physical equivalent of sending a "you up" text 6 months after a breakup. It doesn't fix the $342 bill, it doesn't repair the credit score, and it certainly doesn't make you look like a professional. The modern trend of accountability demands that we stop hiding behind the excuse of miscommunication, when the reality is just a refusal to grow up. Jared's insistence that he was Nan, a victim of Michelle's lack of kindness, is a classic example of the weaponized incompetence that plagues modern relationships. He wants the benefits of a partnership without the responsibilities of an adult, and Judy's refusal to indulge his audition is a healing moment for anyone who has ever been gaslit by a partner who forgot to pay the electric bill. Ultimately, the episode teaches us that in the moral court of our minds, we might be right, but in the legal court of reality, receipts always win. It's a call to action for everyone to secure their own SIM cards, own their own printers, and keep their clear bra empires strictly in their own names. As we watch Jared walk away, still clutching his pride and perhaps a random printer he didn't even own, we realize that the most lucrative business is our own damn self. It's a message that resonates through the ages. Love may be blind, but the phone company never is.